Hello to our viewers in South Korea and from around the world. It's Tuesday, October 25th. It's almost 10 a.m. here in Seoul. You're watching a special live coverage of South Korean President Yoon's government budget speech at the National Assembly being held today. Mr. Yoon is set to address lawmakers in just a few moments, outlining his government spending plan for the year of 2023. Now, Mr. Yoon is expected to call for bipartisan support on the plan to help spark recovery of people's livelihoods and the economy here in South Korea amid high inflation and growing debt levels for South Korean households and businesses. Now, the government earlier this year, it's hinted that it's heading for fiscal tightening, but will work towards expanding the protection of low-income and vulnerable households, as well as boosting the private sector-led economy and improving national safety and security, as well as enhancing the prestige of the country's competitiveness. Now, this is going to be President Yoon's second parliamentary budget speech since his administration took office back in May. And in a few moments' time, we're going to cut straight into the parliamentary session, where the president will be speaking very shortly.
오늘 본회의에서는 2023년도 예산안에 대한 정부의 시정연설을 듣겠습니다.
President's address on the budget for year 2023, and President Yoon Suk-yeol stood here in May, and this is the second time that he is addressing the National Assembly for his budget speech. And taking this opportunity, we sincerely hope that we can have a bipartisan cooperation when it comes to the country's next year's budget, so that we can stabilize the livelihoods of the people going forward. And I ask all of the representatives to also pay attention. And without further ado, let us now begin our parliamentary session, especially on the address of the 2023 budget. In just a moment, Mr. President will enter the venue and give his address.
The president is set to speak very soon, very shortly. He's going to be introducing the government's budget for 2023, outlining the government's plans on how to boost livelihoods and the economy. And we're just hearing that the president is stepping into the room where he is set to give the speech.
Fellow Korean citizens, Honorable Speaker Kim Jin-pyo and representatives, today I stand here before you again in some 5 months to brief in person the public and the National Assembly my administration's first draft budget plans, and to ask for the National Assembly's bipartisan cooperation. The conditions that we face here at home and abroad are very challenging. Amid global inflation, high interest rates, and the strong U.S. dollar, we are witnessing high volatility in the financial markets, as well as heightened economic uncertainties. The vulnerable class and socially disadvantaged and the marginalized are faced with even greater pain. There are widening gaps between countries that remain and maintain fiscal soundness and facilitate financial stability, and those who cannot do so. Amid the ongoing weaponization of the industry and resources, we are witnessing fractured supply chain as well. This calls for the cooperation among countries that share the same values. We are also faced with grave security situation as well. North Korea continues with its provocations in an unprecedented manner, including the latest firing of ballistic missiles. This indeed is a grave violation of the UNSC resolutions and a direct confrontation against the international community. Going forward, it is also publicly proclaiming its commitment to use its preemptive weapons in a preemptive manner, and also intelligence suggests that the regime has completed preparations for the 7th nuclear test. In order to enable our people to live their daily lives in a safe environment, we will bolster ROK-US combined defense readiness and ROK-US-Japan security cooperation to strengthen deterrence against the North. If the North does decide to denuclearize itself and come out to the negotiating table, my government, as I have already illustrated in my inauguration speech, as well as the Independence Day commemorative speech, will be committed to providing political and economic support through an audacious plan. In order to overcome such grave challenges facing us in the economic and the security realms, that is, the ruling and opposition parties cannot stay split. We are in need of cooperation from the National Assembly. Fellow Koreans and honorable representatives, during the past 10 rounds of economic emergency meetings that began from July, I have been looking after the public livelihoods of our people. I made sure that the shocks of higher living costs do not have a further impact on the vulnerable class and the marginalized. In order to do so, I have froze the rental fees of public rental houses and provided support for costs of fuel, food, as well as daily essentials. I also exerted my full efforts to support the recovery efforts following the latest downfall and disasters so that our people can return to their daily lives. In order to bolster the country's export competitiveness, which is a crucial pillar of the South Korean economy, I have delivered a trade finance of a record amount of 351 trillion won. Meanwhile, I also initiated 6 trillion won of fixed-rate special loan and measures to stabilize the bonds market, surpassing 50 trillion won. Likewise, I have initiated measures to supply liquidity into the market to save our SMEs. Moreover, we are also accelerating the speed of nurturing the advancement of our industry and to foster future strategic industries. In the draft budget submitted by my government, we have included measures that will help us navigate through the global complex crisis and to respond to the issues that put at stake the people's livelihoods. Currently, we are faced with challenging fiscal conditions. Our financial balances deficit has expanded due to lax fiscal management that only put political reasons up front. As a result, our national debt has surpassed 1,000 trillion won, which is almost half of our GDP. Amid global high interest rates and fiscal uncertainties, having a sound fiscal management and earning the international credibility are a must. Moreover, our national fiscal soundness must be sustained to enable the sustainable virtuous cycle of economic growth and welfare for the socially marginalized. The government, through its National Fiscal Strategy meeting held in July, has decided to design next year's budget based on fiscal soundness. The size of next year's total expenditure is 639 trillion won, which is the first time for us to downsize compared to the previous year's budget since 2010. By restructuring our record high expenditure of 24 trillion won, we were able to significantly improve our fiscal balances. Our national debt ratio has also made a rebound from its rapid increase during the past 3 years, which will will also serve as a turning point in securing our fiscal soundness going forward. We tighten spending from the public sector, and this will now be spent to protect the ordinary citizens and the socially marginalized. It will also be injected to support the dynamic economy led by the civil sector and to enable us to become a major global leader with enhanced duties and responsibilities. Fellow Koreans and honorable representatives and the Supreme Court Justice, as well as the head of the National Economic Commission, as well as the nation's audit agency, it is the nation's basic duty to protect the socially marginalized whenever the economy is in challenging conditions. My government is carrying out fiscal soundness while providing wide support for the ordinary citizens and the socially marginalized. This is dubbed the welfare for the marginalized. Our standard median income has been adjusted in the maximum scope, thereby enhancing the benefits for four-family households when it comes to basic living incentives. Therefore, we have reflected 18.7 trillion won to support people's basic living conditions. We also will expand the social insurance for artists, low-wage workers, and workers with special form of employment. This will enable us to hire an additional of 278,000 people. For some 7,000 small businesses with less than 50 people, we will also dramatically improve their working conditions. Moreover, tailored support will be provided for people with disabilities as well as single-parent households. Disability benefits has been increased for the first time in 8 years, and we also will be expanding the care hours for the developmentally challenged to up to 8 hours a day. Moreover, for the people with severe disabilities, we will be expanding their support so that they can use call taxis, and we will be securing 2,000 more buses so that we can secure their mobility rights. Moreover, as for single-parent households, we will be expanding the qualifications for the benefits from the 52% of the median income to 60%. As it has been witnessed during the latest downfall, those living in the half-basement floors had the largest amount of damage. In order to help them to move to a safer environment, we will make sure to provide no-interest loans for deposits, and when they decide to move to a private rental houses, we will provide up to 50 million won. Moreover, as for victims of jeonse fraud, we will be also establishing emergency loans up to 160 million Korean won. And as for the youth of our country, we will be providing more households amounting to over 54,000. And in order to help them secure more assets in a mid to longer term, we will be introducing youth accounts as well as expand the number of people who can benefit from the Youth Tomorrow Savings accounts. And as for the senior citizens, we will be expanding and increasing our basic pension incentives, and we will make sure that their post-retirement lives will be carried out in a stable manner. We will also provide measures to help people's shocks from the high living costs. More importantly, we will expand the energy voucher, and the agricultural livestock fishery discount coupons will be expanded to 169 billion from 59 billion. This is a threefold increase. We will also secure major inventories when it comes to agriculture and livestock, including grains. We will make sure that we react to the supply uncertainties. We will also expand the payment for the small-sized farmers so that they can save on their expenditures. Moreover, in order to respond to the diminishing of the regional provinces, we will also expand the national balance investment to 1 trillion won, and we will also provide increased autonomy for the municipal government so that they can seek their own tailored engines for growth going forward. We will also actively nurture the high-tech strategic industry as well as the science tech industry, and we will also establish new basic foundations for growth. First and foremost, the memory chips, as well as the system semiconductors. In these sectors, we will be securing enhanced competitiveness. We will be securing more people and nurturing more talents, as well as more R&D. We will invest up to 1 trillion won. And it is urgent that we restore our nuclear power ecosystem. We will also invest fully in the next generation technology, including SMR, as well as the other nuclear industries. And quantum computing, space and aerospace, and AI and high-tech biotechnology, as well as other core technologies will be enhanced through our R&D investment, totaling up to 4.9 trillion won. In order to help the civil investment-led startups, we will also expand the support for the venture companies and startups. We will also have more investment in the SMEs R&D, and this will be totaling up to 3.6 trillion won. In order to help the small business owners to stand back on their feet from the effects of the COVID-19, we will also ensure more spending for them. And for young farmers, we will also provide tailored packages, including financial support, as well as providing tailored farmland. We will be providing such incentives in a package form so that they can lead innovation in the industry. And we will also make sure that we carry out transportation innovation going forward. The GTX in the metropolitan area, we will make sure that it is completed on its schedule, and we will also invest up to 673 billion Korean won, and we will also invest significant amount of money for the early commercialization of future modes of transportation, including UAM and PM, and we will also establish our technology advancement in these areas. In order to respond and prevent ourselves from the natural disasters, including floods and droughts, we will newly establish 3 tunnels that will help us to evade disasters in the circumstances of floods. We'll also have smart forecasting systems of the weather. And in order to enable the pedestrian safety, we will also expand our support for these traffic lights as well. Robust defense, high level of veterans benefits is also very important in order to make a very strong nation. Responding to the security threats, we will enhance our Korean 3X system, which includes our Hyunmoo missile and F-35A. We will be investing up to 5.3 trillion won in this aspect. And we will also make sure that we have investment for the combined weapon system transition to the drones and robots, as well as unmanned weapons. And we will also secure more investment to get ourselves ready for cyber warfare. And we will also pay utmost respect for those who sacrifice for our country's national defense.
국민과 장병의 눈높이에
The
맞도록
conditions for our
경영
soldiers
환경을
will be
개선하고
enhanced.
사병
This includes
봉급을
the soldier salary,
2025년
which will be
205만 원을
increased
목표로
to 2.05 million by 2025, and this will be gradually increased to
병역 의무 이행에 대한
13
합당한 보상이
to 1.3 million, that is next year, from the 820,000, and this will be carried out in a phasal manner.
아울러 보훈
Moreover, the veterans' benefits will also be expanded for the first time in its largest amount after 2008. And we will also increase our continued benefits for those who have partook in the Korean War.
격화되는 경제 블록화 물결에
And in order
대비하여
to respond to the increased competitiveness of economic blocks, we will be strengthening our economic security capabilities. In order to respond to the crisis of the global supply chain, we will secure more investment in nurturing the national resources of foreign countries, and we will invest 3.2 trillion won in this aspect. As I mentioned in my UN address, it is very important that we contribute significantly to the international community.
지켜내기 어려운 것이 엄연한 현실입니다.
And to this end, my government will carry out its duties as a leader country in the global arena, and we will expand the ODA to 4.5 trillion won. Through this, we will provide emergency rescue operations and also aids aimed at helping the emerging countries as well as developing countries. We will also contribute to the vaccine development as well as securing global health care.
존경하는 국민 여러분,
Fellow Korean citizens, Honorable Speaker Kim Jin-pyo and representatives,
대법원장님, 헌법재판소장님,
as well as all of the heads of the national organizations who are here with us today, I would like to mention the following facts. The budget plans for the government entails the blueprints of the country, and it also entails our past considerations. And this can be only completed when we muster our wisdom with the National Assembly. And it was also proven in May when we passed the supplementary budget for the small business owners during the COVID-19. At a time when we have enhanced uncertainty surrounding our economy, we sincerely hope that the National Assembly can pass the budget plans within the due timeline so that we can contribute to restoring the people's livelihoods and to support the future growth. Thank you very much for your attention.
Well, that was President Yoon outlining the government's 2023 budget. He mentioned a couple of important points there: how to address people's livelihoods, how to boost the economy amid soaring inflation and debt levels. Of course, he also addressed ways that the government is going to boost defense spending as well as foreign aid. And this is despite introducing the first reduction to government budget since 2010. Now, that was the full live coverage of the budget speech at the National Assembly. But if you've missed it or want to play it back, you can do just that on arirang.com or on our YouTube channel, Arirang News. Thank you ever so much for watching.
넘어서야 할 것들. 망설임, 무례함, 불의, 편견, 타협, 차별, 부정, 그리고 내 자신. 태권도로 나는 나를 이겨낼 것이다. 나를 넘어서는 위대한 도전.